Hey, it's Jeff.
And it's Shaleia.
And we're here for a surprise video. Surprise to us.
Surprise,
maybe not to you. To tell you about a dream I had, or not a dream even, an experience I had with my brother Babaji. And you all know about Babaji, the meditating yogi in the Himalayas.
Himalayan yogi master. Mm-hmm.
So Shaleia was making breakfast, and I was wondering, well, what wonderful things can I do for her, because she's making us breakfast. So I went up into our meditation room and started playing with our singing bowls, and I was on this meditation cushion that Shaleia had gotten based on some referral from Paramahansa Yogananda, who said, you got to have a silk cushion to meditate. And I made fun of Shaleia for getting all these things, and I was like, we're never going to use that, my ass meditates in bed in the fetal position, and I'll sit down and meditate. And she insisted, and I actually used it for the first time. Yeah. And it worked really well. So I played the singing bowls for a few minutes, and I sat down. I didn't have anything else to do. And I said, just started meditating, and I wondered, well, what's it going to be like? What would it be like to meditate with Babaji in the Himalayas? And so I just went there in my consciousness with Babaji. He was there with me. And he showed me what a life meditating in the Himalayas would be like. And he showed me about, your rice bowl, and how you, quickly get used to eating, mostly just rice and eating not a lot. And after you get used to that, you start to realize that your whole life is dependent upon this rice, and if the person who brings you up the rice dies or stops coming, you're gonna have to go down the mountain and figure it out for yourself. And that's annoying at first, and then you start to realize, well, it doesn't really matter if I have to go down the mountain or not, or if the guy comes or doesn't, and that starts to fall away. And you start to be concerned about the people around you meditating with you, who's gonna make it, who's gonna leave, and then that starts to fall away. He kept showing me how, despite all this, you're getting a lot of hours meditating in every day. You just get a lot of meditating done. That's all you do is just meditate, meditate, meditate. And you start to notice stuff about yourself. Notice how you feel. Your body starts to relax more. Your mind starts to relax more. You start to notice subtle things about yourself. The way that the blood pumps through your body, the way that your heart, moves your body a little bit, the way that your breath changes your body. You start to notice your chakras. You start to notice different energy moving through your body. It starts to get more subtle. And then eventually, when you get really good, you start to notice God. And that's the real draw. That's the reason that you meditate. That's the reason that you deal with all this shit. It's because it takes you to a really nice place. And that nice place is with God. And so you get to be with God through your meditations. And at first, you're going to notice you're really resistant to God. And over time, you get really good. And you start to release your resistance to God. And you start to want to be around Him. And then over time, you start to really like God and start to get attached to God. And you notice how God's not really there in the attachment. And so you have to learn to surrender to God. And then through, maybe even lifetimes of this work, of being with God and not attaching yourself and not being resistant to God, but just being with God, being present, and realizing that's all you want to do and how good that feels. And it's the purpose of going out into the Himalayas and meditating or becoming an ascetic, someone who doesn't have any possessions, just their rice bowl, and they just meditate. And they're just with God. And eventually, you're just with God all the time. That's all you want to do is go back into meditation, be with God. Go back into meditation, be with God. You don't tolerate any of the worldly stuff. You don't care about any of the worldly stuff. You just be with God. You do everything you can just to be with God all the time. And that's where your consciousness goes, and that's home. That's where you came from, and that's where all the spiritualities of the past have hoped to return you to, is to be with God. And Babaji said, this is everything that we, all the masters have come before us have taught is, detaching from the world and returning to your source, ascending. This is what the ascension process is, right? And eventually, when your life ends on the earth, the natural result is that your consciousness will just want to be with God. You'll return to that place, and then after this process of purification is complete, even it takes a few dozen lifetimes. Eventually, you get to leave the planet. And before, for thousands of years, that was the real way to go in spirituality: is leave the planet, is ascend, is transcend this hellish environment that's sole purpose is to shed the weight of. But that doesn't bother me. Little cursor was on the stop button and I wanted to stop too soon. So that's why spirituality is usually it's free. It couldn't possibly pay for it, because to pay for spirituality would mean you'd have to work, which would root you to the earth even further.
And subsequently not make sense for what it is that you're trying to achieve, which is to leave the planet.
And Babaji showed me how the mirror exercise, kind of the core spiritual tool that we teach in our work, is the exact same but the complete opposite of this process. With the mirror exercise, you instead of going within and meditating and seeing God only in the inner world, only on the higher planes, the mirror exercise teaches you to see God in the physical plane. And so that's why all our students who are doing this work notice miraculous changes in their physical environments and their physical lives.
And in their unions too, with their twin flame.
Yeah, Babaji didn't talk about. Shaleia asked me, she's like, well, what about your twin flame in Babaji's ascension process? And I said, well, they don't cover that. It's not important. And what did Yogananda say about twin souls, he called it once? Or he's only ever talked about twin flames once.
He did. Just that before you reach liberation or ascension, that you will come into union with your twin flame. That was the real communication. There were some other things, but they weren't totally correct. Yeah.
But the spiritual path that we teach, it focuses your attention instead of only inwardly. It returns you to focus your attention on the entire physical and external life, which is a big no-no in previous spiritualities to ours. Yeah. And actually, a lot of people, have given us a lot of grief on this one. They say, well, you're not like any of the other real masters who have been on the planet. Like, there's something off here. And Babaji told me they never could have anticipated that what our coming means, in that we would do the exact opposite of all of them, that we would ask you to focus your attention on your physical reality. But it's the exact same process, and it's the process of seeing God and being with God in your physical reality.
Therefore, not leaving it.
But expanding it and enriching it.
Which is different than attachment.
Yeah, it's the exact same process as Babaji's process of meditation and being with God and ascending, as what we're teaching, which is the process of ascending into your physical reality. And this means not that you're weighted down to a miserable, hellish planet and satanic reality, but instead you're transmuting the physical reality into God.
It's like that saying, that quote that we say in class by Lao Tzu, I believe, but before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water.
Can you extrapolate upon that a bit?
Well, it's about being rooted in your life purpose and being rooted here on the planet. And while many spiritualities and religions previous to us coming here is about leaving the planet, it's about ascending but staying on the planet, because this planet is God's and there's no need to leave it. Yeah, you can leave an unhealthy situation, but it doesn't mean you need to leave the entire planet.
And the way of old is still available, but what we're presenting is a new way, a way that is probably going to be a lot more popular with the masses, that you'd want to, improve your life here?
Well, and I know that many people watching this and many people not watching this, they sincerely love Earth. They sincerely love the planet. They want to see it thrive. They want to see it grow. They want to be here. They want to be rooted here. Many are rooted here. They've been here for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. They have a lot of relationships and energy invested in this planet. And that's why, some of these spiritualities, most people don't go really deep into them to the point of total ascension and leaving this planet, because they don't want to. And that's why a lot of these spiritualities talk about not having sex or abstaining,
being poor, not having a lot of
being
wealth.
poor, not having a lot of, exactly, all this stuff, because those are the types of things that keep you grounded and keep you rooted here.
And so when people look at us and they see us touting our wealth and having great pride in our wealth and the fact that we, we're twin flames and we teach about having sex with your twin flame.
Being very affectionate toward each other. And
and all of this grounds us on the planet, which is the point.
Yeah.
And the fact that we charge for our work, I want to talk about that for a minute. So the amount that we charge for the core teaching for Twin Flame Ascension School and Life Purpose class is accessible to pretty much every single person with an internet connection on the planet. And if you diligently work, you can do enough so that you can purchase a membership to our core teaching. And there's a reason for that, because the core teaching requires pay so that you can begin the process of investing your energy into the planet. You have to give value to the planet. You have to work. You have to give of yourself to others here, beyond just maybe your rice bowl, in order to be our student. And a membership in Twin Flame Ascension School and Life Purpose class is so much more than just buying a cool online product with lots and lots of really wonderful spiritual content. It's more than just a revolutionary way to receive information and learn about spirituality and come into harmonious with your twin flame.
Right.
It's really a path to enlightenment.
Right. And many of these yogis and gurus and spiritual teachers previous, they weren't beholden to having spiritual students. Many of them actually never took on students. They became one and then just, ascended, right? And that's a lot of spiritual wealth and knowledge that was available, and which is why we always encourage those who feel called to share the teachings that they learn through us at Twin Flame Ascension School, and becoming a coach or whatever else that they feel serves that.
And in so doing, they will have to take on clients, and this is a different sort of spiritual relationship. Your coach becomes your teacher, and your teacher, you must pay them to maintain that relationship. And the reason that you pay them for that relationship, and the reason that you pay Twin Flames Universe for the Twin Flame Ascension School and Life Purpose class, is part of the teaching itself. It's on purpose, so that you can learn to give. And as you learn this, you actually will become quite wealthy financially. And if you're following the teaching in this, you're going to realize that your wealth feels really good. And we have all the resources for free available, and we have a chain of products in specific price points, so that you can learn this process of ascending your finances.
And just to touch on that, I think it's very important that the most spiritual of people on the planet, and those that are aspiring to be, very spiritual and deep in their spirituality, should be the most wealthiest, because it's going to solve so many problems on the planet where those that have money, that have power, can be corrupt and do corruptible things. Or even if their intention is not to be corrupt, it somehow can end up happening anyway. And so to start to shift the balance of power, or whatever you want to call it, and those that are really aligned with the divine and really aligned with the process of ascension actually having like a fortune and changing the world. That's the prayer, I believe, one of the prayers this planet has been asking for.
Is that the greatest, the wisest, the fairest, the most peaceful, the most loving among us are the ones to lead us.
Mm-hmm.
And through our work, we hope to cultivate a new earth where you can learn how to become that. And the more peaceful and loving you become, the more power you attain here on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's our teaching, and that's why we charge. And that's the difference between the spirituality that we offer through union with your twin flame, with God, with life itself. And it's essentially the same thing as all masters have passed, but it's focused in a very different direction in a way, achieving the exact same result, which is ascension, which is heaven, except we're teaching heaven on earth rather than leaving earth to attain heaven.
Exactly.
So don't be afraid to work.
Don't be afraid to claim Earth as your home planet.
We did a video on that, actually.
We did do a video on it. Yeah, maybe I'll link it here. Yeah. And I think for those of you that, attain your harmonious twin flame union, whether it's in this lifetime or another lifetime, it's about really thinking, like, where do you want to live together? It's, when Jeff and I first started dating, was online dating, we talked a lot about our future in this lifetime. And, fairly recently, actually, we went in depth in Twin Flame Ascension School, Wednesday, 1 p.m., class number 100, about our eternal life plans, because we recognize that we are eternal beings. And because we've achieved harmonious twin flame union, we always get to keep that achievement. So where do we want to live? Are we going to die and go somewhere else, or are we going to continue to remain on this planet? And we decided that we desire to live here on this planet. And in order to do that, well, we need the support to do that. And in so doing, we offer the support of having your harmonious twin flame union and your ascension and living your life purpose, among other things. And so, yeah, like it's a very beautiful and wise decision to not ditch this planet because it sucked before, or that it may feel like it even sucks now, but it's getting better and better.
And we're teaching the process by which you can actively make it better for yourself and consequently others.
Yeah, and stay here. Yeah, with your twin, and have a really good heavenly life.
Yeah, remaining rooted here in a divine way rather than weighed down here in a miserable way.
Exactly.
So if you want to learn how to do that and learn the teachings, check out some of the links below. Our book is a great place to start in learning the mirror exercise and beginning that spiritual journey of ascension physically on the planet, ascension into your heaven on earth here. And of course, our magnum opus product is also available. If you're genuinely curious about that but unsure, reach out to one of our coaches. We have a very rich and potent training process for vetting our coaches. And one of our vetted coaches, if you sign up for a free consultation, will speak with you about their journey and offer to help you in this work. So, anything else you want to say?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you so much, guys. I'm so happy to see you again.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yes. See you soon.
Take care.
Bye.